Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm super excited today to be a part of this year's Save the Crafty YouTuber video hop. As you may know, this hop is the crafting community coming together to help each other reach YouTube's goals for views and subscribers in order to monetize our channels. This is also a great opportunity to discover some new and amazing card makers to follow and be inspired. At each stop, you have the opportunity to win a prize. On my channel, I am personally providing a $25 gift certificate to scrapbook.com. I'll go into more detail about that in just a bit. For my card today, I'm sharing a quick and easy watercolor background. I'm also featuring Heffy Doodle's adorable otters from the Other Side stamp set for my card. I'm starting my card by working on the background first. I have a piece of watercolor paper that I cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is Arches cold press watercolor paper, and I especially love this paper in particular for creating watercolor backgrounds. I'm taking the 3 different images of waves from the stamp set and I'm arranging them on my acrylic blocks. And then I am treating the panel with an anti-static powder just to minimize any stray embossing powder. And then I'll use my Versamark ink to stamp out the waves kind of randomly across the entire panel. And in order to do this, I found it easier to stamp out 1 or 2 of the images of the waves because it was a little bit difficult to see on that watercolor paper. And then I'm applying white embossing powder, and I'll heat set that so that I could see where my next stamp would go. I did cover the entire panel with the images of the waves, just to add a little interest to the background that I'll be watercoloring. I started the watercoloring with my Tombow markers, as you can see in that upper corner, but I found it difficult to spread the ink across the panel. So plan B was just easier, and I smushed some Distress Oxide ink onto my craft mat. This is Salty Ocean, and then I have a number 6 brush here, and I've added a little bit of water that I have off to the side, and then I'm just scribbling it across my entire panel, and it's pretty random. I'm adding water to move that color around, and then I'll add a little bit more ink and cover the entire panel. So after I finished with the Salty Ocean, I added some Blueprint Sketch, and again I did the same thing as before. I added some water to the ink that's on my craft mat, and then I'm just randomly adding the color to the background. And then finally I added some Wilted Violet Distress Oxide ink. I watered it down and then added it to my background, just like before. And I think I used this color a little bit more sparingly, just to leave more of that blue. Anywhere the color had kind of pulled, I just picked it up with a dry paper towel. And then I'm going to set this panel aside to dry while I work on the rest of the card. For my card today, I'm using the Otter Side stamp set by Heffy Doodle, and they are one of the many great sponsors today for this hop, so shout out to them. I could not decide which images I wanted to use, so I decided to stamp out all of the otters. And I'm just arranging them inside my MISTI. I do have a piece of Neenah Silver White 80-pound cardstock in there, and I will be using my Memento Tuxedo black ink to stamp out these images, as both of these are Copic friendly. This is a brand new stamp set, and I think my blanket ink is a bit on the drier side, so I'm really working hard to ink up those images. But I will go ahead and stamp those out a couple of times, and that's the beauty of the Misty, is it will allow you to stamp multiple times without shifting. So I've left the coloring in for these images, and I do color all of them the same way, except that first one I messed up and I didn't like the outcome, so I'm going to do it again. Anyway, I'm only going to share how I color one of them because they are all exactly the same. And if you are interested in any close-up pictures or the color combinations that I used, I do have it listed on my blog, which I will link to down below. So while I finish coloring, I will mention a little bit about my channel. If you have been following me for a while, thank you so much for stopping by and hopping along. And if you are new to my channel, welcome. A little bit about my channel is that I love to create cards with kind of a whimsy or playful or kind of cutesy feel to them. I love critter images, and I especially love to create scene cards. Because I love to color, most of my videos I create features coloring, and although my go-to medium is Copic markers, I do love my watercolors, and I do try to reach for them every so often. This is kind of typical of what you would see on my channel. I do try to post once a week. However, you know, life comes up and I may skip a week. Other than the cutesy critter cards, I do bring in a Hero Arts Kit video on most months, and I will usually create more than one card for that kit. So if that's something you're into, consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that notification bell for when the next video uploads. And finally, I do try to post a little more frequently over on my blog, which is linked down below in case you're interested in checking that out. So after I finished coloring the images, I've used my Scan and Cut to cut the images out, and then I'll just set them aside to work on the background panel. For a little bit of interest on my card front, I'm going to create some frames, and I'm using these skinny Imperial rectangle frame dies by Heffy Doodle, and then I've cut that frame out of several pieces of white cardstock. So the easiest way I found to adhere these together is by using the Zig two-way glue pen, and I just add the glue on the back of one of the frames. I line them up, and then I can put something heavy on top to press them in place. So here's kind of what my card is going to start looking like. I have my watercolor background panel that is completely dry. I have that skinny frame, and then I'm just going to start adding in my images just to see the placing of them. I really wanted this background to sparkle, so I'm taking the Spectrum Noir glitter overlay pen and I'm adding it across the entire panel. And then I'll just set that off to the side for a few moments to dry, and it would be ready to start adhering all of my components together. Off screen, I stamped out the sentiment from the stamp set that reads "Hello" from the Otter Side onto a piece of black cardstock, and I white heat embossed it. I then die cut the sentiment strip using a thin fishtail banner die, and then I also adhered the watercolor background to an A2 size top folding white card base. And then finally, I've added my frame using some liquid adhesive to the front of the card panel, and I'm again arranging my little critters back onto the card front. I've used some foam squares to pop up the images, and then I can just adhere them down in place. And that will do it for my card today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you're having fun on this hop. Be sure to comment down below for a chance to win a $25 gift certificate to scrapbook.com provided by me on my channel. All comments must be left by April 5th in order to qualify, and all of the winners will be announced on Justine's channel and blog linked down below on April 10th. There are many prizes given away throughout the hop, so don't forget to hop along and leave a comment on each one of the videos to increase your chances at winning. You do not have to comment on each video, but the more you comment, the greater your chances are at winning a prize. Also, the next hop participant is listed in the video description area, as well as all of the supplies that I used in creating this card. Thank you so much for watching, commenting, and liking the videos. We honestly can't thank you enough for that. Please consider subscribing to support the smaller crafting YouTuber, and I'll see you next time.